Okay, today we're going to, well, this video, not today, because I'm actually doing 7 projects this weekend. Okay, we have mushrooms. I don't care for these, don't like them. Hubby loves them. So, I got them all. They're fresh mushrooms. I sliced them. I was going to pressure can them, but unfortunately time got away from me and I'm not going to have enough time. And because the requirements for pressure canning, I have it in my book here. Pressure canning mushroom takes 45 minutes. I don't have anything that I'm going to be doing this weekend that takes 45 minutes that I can share the same canner with. So I don't ruin what I purchased. I don't lose my money. I'm going to dehydrate them. Now, don't tell him, but hubby's eating dehydrated mushrooms. He seems to not care for them, he says, but he's eating them. And, you know, these work great in, like, sauces. I've learned. I've actually written it down. I've done a bunch of research on several sites. I've done some researching on Google and the internet on making your own cream of mushroom soup. And I want to have it so it's shelf stable. So this way all you have to do is, it's a powder in a powder mixture. And then all I'm doing is laying them out where they're not touching each other, so they can dry pretty good. The little small pieces I put up here up front, or if you have those mesh things, go ahead and lay them on there. But because these are big enough, they're not gonna dry. I've actually dried these before, but these big pieces, they're not gonna get too dry. Now the small ones like this one, those I do put on the thing with the mesh. And there's the mesh ring. You can buy them based on your whatever size dehydrator. I have a Nesco Garden Master. This is my second or third one that I've had. Put the little small pieces back in there. Number one, like everything else when you're working with food, make sure your utensils, your tools are clean. And I washed everything down, so I'm going to save the little pieces for, actually, you know what, I'm going to move this over here, because I'm going to save myself some time. And I'm going to, as I get to a small one, I'll just go ahead and lay it on the jar, on the other tray. So these little small ones like this, those will shrink when they dry up, and they could go through the next rack below. My particular Garden Master requires it to have at least 4 trays. Even if you're only using one, still you got to have 4, so you don't damage your dehydrator. So these little small ones like that. Okay, there it is. I knew I felt something there. So that way, when something falls down, your table is clean and sanitized. I just clean it with a very, very hot soapy water, wipe it down. Okay, and then I rinse the towel out really well, rinse it out again really well, and then it's really, I mean, just barely can touch it, hot water, and then I wipe it back down again, okay? Because I'm working with food, I don't use the Clorox wipes on this stuff. I do that, Clorox wipes, when I'm working with grease stuff, and I want to make sure, or anything that can contaminate pretty easy. Okay, so that tray is pretty full. So now, I mean, because I have to use 4 trays, and I know I don't need 4 trays, I'm going to dehydrate. The bottom one's going to be the, I messed up here. The bottom one is going to be, because my dehydrator, the air blower, is on the bottom. So, tray of mushrooms, and then another tray of mushrooms. And then these are going to go on the bottom. I mean on top, excuse me. And you could be all messy and just lay them all over, whatever. But you know, I like to do a good job. And you could just lay them all and scatter them all over, however you want to do it. You know what? This is your project. You do what works for you. And, you know, everybody has different times on what they can do to prepare for something, to preserve their food. So, you know what? Do what's best for you. Okay, that one kind of limped. Hubby likes sauteed mushrooms, but we're not going to eat anything that's going to go with sauteed mushrooms, and I don't want these to spoil because they have been in my fridge for 3 days, so I need to hurry up. I had them in jars, mason jars, sealed mason jars, and they're not slimy. They're getting a little limp, but they're not too limp. And when they get to be slimy, I'm sorry, you need to pitch it. It's for your own safety, because remember, these are grown in manure. Most places grow mushrooms in manure, some type of manure. And because you really can't wash, when you wash mushrooms, they tend to get rubbery. Again, since I don't eat them, I don't know. That's just everything that I was reading on mushrooms is, when you wash them, you're supposed to get a wet paper towel, and then you wipe the dirt off the mushroom itself, but you don't soak them in water, you don't put them in water, you don't do any of that, because the water makes them rubbery. Okay, so that's there. So that made my 2 trays. So I'm going to put them on the dehydrator at 135 for about 3 to 4 hours. I check it after about 3 hours. I'll check it, and I don't take them off until I know they're totally dry. Dry means you could pinch it and it breaks apart in your fingers with just the 2 fingers. That means it's dry. Okay, I'm gonna go take them and put them on my dehydrator. I'll bring you back. Okay, this is my dehydrator, and there's my Nesco Garden Master. I have 10 trays that goes with it, and there's the dials. So I've got it set for 135. It is a little on the noisy side, but it's in the back formal dining room, which we never use. It's more of my storage area, but I'm not going to show you. Okay, so I'll bring you back when that is done. So see you in about 4 hours. Okay, I'm back. The dehydrator is done. It's 2:15 in the morning. So I started at, I have it on my phone. I keep it in my alarm so I can keep track of times when I got multi things going. Multi-projects. I'm a multitasker today. Okay, the mushrooms went in at 2:50 in the afternoon. So 2:50, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So it's 2:15, so 7, yeah, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it took me about 12 hours, a little bit more than 12 hours, because it's 2:15. So 50, 25 minutes, so 11 hours and 25 minutes. So the 2 trays, here's my 2 trays. And so I'm just taking them out. Again, make sure your hands are clean, washed and soaped and dried down. And make sure there's no moisture anywhere in your hands, because the minute the moisture hits the dehydrated product, it's going to start to grow, because moisture is all it takes. Then, if you don't pay attention, it's going to grow and it's going to go to the other ones. It's going to spread, and then you're going to have a bad batch. So you wasted money and you wasted your time. And you just want to make sure, and I'm going to show you, listen. Hear that snap? You hear that snap? That means they're dry. Now these are the ones that I did not put the trays on, the mesh trays. Because I really don't need it. I didn't really need to, but some of them did drop to the lower level, which is not a big deal. Because there just isn't enough here. And shake it so they all settle. Because I really don't need to do another jar, or another bigger jar. This little half pint will be more than enough. And I'll just label this mushrooms. So when hubby wants sauteed mushrooms, I will have some ready for him. And all you got to do is boil in hot water. Put these in there just to the top of the area where they're moist. So I would just do, you know, whatever you think you're going to eat. This is another good thing about when you're dehydrating, is you get exactly what you want. You don't have to do a whole bunch of extra. Like sometimes you'll have to get a whole can or the whole bushel that you buy from the produce section. And here with this, when it dehydrated, you don't have to. Now I already washed and sanitized my table, so I know it's clean. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it in there. I carry my, I have these regular and wide mouth, and I love them. Number one, they always stay, because they've been washed in a Ziploc baggie, and it stays in here. And it's even labeled plastic lids. But I'm constantly in here doing something with them. So, because the whole goal is to use this right away, because it's such a small container. But I want my husband to know that, you know, these are mushrooms, that if he wants them, he can have them. Now, because they're plastic, I don't ever write on my plastic, because it is hard to come off. And like the other ones that are black, like the one that Ball makes, they're black. Those are the ones I have in there, and they have the holes on top so you can do it for spices. But I don't do that. I should, but I haven't yet. I plan on it, but I haven't done it yet. And then these are just the clear ones. But I'm just going to get my disposable label, and I'm just going to put it on top, or I may even just put it on the side, just so hubby knows there's mushrooms, and it's really easy to make him as whatever. He personally likes sauteed mushrooms, but he does love mushrooms in practically everything, all kinds of food. So, and so if I'm making like a bowl of soup, or I'm doing a stew, or say I want to make cream of mushroom soup, because I'm going to post that video hopefully sometime soon, is I could use my dehydrated, rehydrate them first, and then put them in my cream of mushroom soup, okay? Or if you're doing it in soups and stews, go ahead and pop them in there, period, because while it's cooking and simmering, because if you do it on the crock pot or you do it in the stove, it's going to be at least 45-30 minutes when you're making something like that. So that's more than enough time for it to rehydrate. And you don't have to rehydrate it first. Save you a little bit of step. I'll save you a step, and save you a little time. I love to dehydrate. I've been doing it for years. I love to dehydrate fruits, vegetables. One of my favorite things is cauliflower, because I'll dehydrate like 2 whole heads of cauliflower, and it makes like a little bit more than half of a quart. And then all you do is just whenever we want to make anything with the cauliflower as a side dish, cauliflower tortillas, you know, just whatever it is that you want to make. Just grab some, pop it in, put boiling water over it for like 20 minutes, let it sit. I don't over water, because I don't want that extra water in there. I pour where it's just enough to cover the food, the dehydrated food, in a plate, in a bowl, whatever it is that I'm doing. And I put it in there just enough. And sometimes I'll even do it the night before, like when I'm doing hash browns. I'll put it in an airtight container, and I put my dehydrated potatoes in there, and I pour just enough water where it's just barely above it, but not really above it, because it's going to all soak up all that water. And then the next morning, you hardly have any water left at all. So you just pour the whole thing in your frying pan and make yourself some hash browns. Nice and easy. And you do that with all the dehydrated food. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit like and comment. YouTube likes it. The algorithm helps me if y'all post a comment, even if it's anything, whatever, negative, positive, whatever. Hopefully it's positive. And don't forget to subscribe. And we thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.